Hello everyone, welcome to Math Q&A. In this video, we're going to be further, explaining what are arithmetic sequences and also giving an example. Okay, in the previous video, we have explained that an arithmetic sequence is a sequence which is based on a line graph. And then on top of that, we also explained what arithmetic sequences are and how we actually find them. If you're given a series of numbers, let's say 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. From the first number, which is 1 in this instance, if you take the second number, subtracting the previous number, let's say 3 minus 1, you get a 2, 5 minus 3, you get a 2, 7 minus 5, you get a 2, 9 minus 7, you get a 2, and then you see that you get the same number here every time. This is called an arithmetic sequence. Now, let's work on this example. Now, I'm going to give you a formula. This formula, I'm going to show how we find the formula and why it's that formula. I'll actually show you why it's that formula in another video. But in this video, let's say that, well, to find any values that are actually of an arithmetic sequence or a formula that actually is for an arithmetic sequence, it's called Tn. Well, let me rather put it as Tn is equal to A plus n minus 1 d. So now, what we are saying is that Tn plus A plus n minus 1 is d. I'm going to explain this equation. Tn means the next term. A means the first term. N means the nth term. Even this n as well, it means the nth term. Even this n as well means nth. Now, this whole thing, all of it, n minus 1 means the current value. D means the difference between the second term, difference between the next term minus the previous term. So this is the difference between all these values. Okay, now let's continue. Let's take this equation, which I've shown you now, and apply it to this specific sequence. I've got Tn. Now the first term is A. A is 1 in our case, plus n minus 1. D is the difference between the next term and the previous term, which is 2 in this case. So we put a 2 there. So one thing that we don't actually substitute is the n, because the n is what you're going to use to actually find the values here. So we're kind of making an equation to be able to find any value in the sequence. So now let me explain what nth means. Well, normally in continuous mathematics, we call x a dependent variable. So we actually ask other questions like, what is the value of y if x is equal to this? What is the value of y when x is equal to that for parabolas and all those things? When talking about sequences, the x is replaced by an n. So it means that the n is the one that determines what values we're looking for here. In this instance, the n are these values which we're looking at here. So this is n0, this is n1, this is n2, this is n3, this is n4. So it means that we can also write something like this. We can say n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this helps us to be able to know the term number. Otherwise, you wouldn't know what number 9 is in this instance. Since here there's a 4, you know that 9 is the fourth term, 7 is the third term, 5 is the second term. So the second, first, n, these are nth values. So what if you don't know what a specific value is? What if you have a specific value and you don't know what n it is? So we just say nth then, because we know it's n. So if, let's say, they give you 100, they say there's some value 100 which belongs to this sequence. So what term number is it? You don't know that, so we just say nth. So if you get a question where they ask, what is the nth value of a sequence where the value is 100, you must go there and calculate the n, because the n is the nth value. So at this point, we have an equation that looks like this, and the n is an nth. Let's apply this formula on our problem. Well, let's say the first question is, I think if we look at the sequence, we all know that, 13579, we've been adding 2 all the time, so let's just add 2 here. I mean, if you add 2 on 9, you know you get 11. Let's just try to see what number is 11, or let's rather say what's the fifth value of this sequence. We mean, what is the value of Tn if n is equal to 5? So you're going to do this. Tn is going to be equal to 1 plus 5 minus 1 times 2. 1 plus 5 minus 1 is 4 times 2 is 8. 1 plus 8 is 9.